Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Tom Rivera, and I'm the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Studies Emeritus. Emeritus means that I've been retired for a couple of years. And this afternoon, today is November the 14th, and it's approximately 1:30 in the afternoon, and we have some guests with us this afternoon. First guest is Mr. Ernie Colunga, Ernie, Mr. Albert Felix, Mr. Rudy Luna, Dr. Luis Gomez, and Mr. Frankie Gonzales. Anyway, what we will be talking about this afternoon would be scouting in South Colton in the 1950s. We would like to talk about our troop 45 that we grew up with. And guys, that was 60 years ago that we were Boy Scouts. Isn't that something? 60 years ago, that was a heck of a long time, 60 years ago. And talking about our Troop 45, let's kind of kick it off, and let me ask you some questions to possibly stir and bring the memory back to the early 50s. First of all, if you do participate, when you do participate, tell us, when did you first join the Boy Scouts? And why did you join the Boy Scouts? And secondly, what were your experiences like being a Boy Scout? And thirdly, how much impact did that scouting experience have on your life? For example, in my case, in the 50, 51, 52, I joined the Boy Scout because my friends were in the Boy Scout, and they were going to the Boy Scouts and having meetings. Really, I do not remember where we had our meetings. Do you remember where we had our meetings?
Wilson.
At Wilson?
The bungalows.
Bungalow in the back.
Bungalows, yeah.
Back.
The last one, I think.
The last
Was it
one.
Music room.
Yeah,
Okay.
music room, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Music room.
Okay. We had our meetings at the old Garfield School,
Yeah,
That's right.
and also the Wilson Junior High School. And we had them, where were we, at the bungalows?
yeah.
At
One
the-
bungalow,
At the far end of
Far
the
end.
of the school?
It used to
Five
be a-
bungalows, and that was the last one.
yeah, it's the last
Yeah.
one.
And they went by grade.
Very last one.
Yeah.
Because
It was like
remember,
kindergarten, first, second,
if you
third.
remember, the bungalow was here, and the classroom was here, and Mr. Hosea was the last one at that end.
Yeah.
And the music room was over here on the side.
So Louis, we had it by grade level, eh?
Yeah, as I
Yeah.
recall. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we had kindergarten, then it went, they were going east. Then first grade, second grade, third grade. I
Yeah.
think the last one was fifth grade.
That was our class.
Art? Yeah,
That
it was.
That was Hosea. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have Hosea. They had Hosea.
I had him.
We did.
Yeah, that last
Yeah, I think so.
that last room was Hosea's room.
Because-
I remember that one.
Because what I think.
I got in there.
Actually, that almost all of us that were in the same club went to almost all the same classes together, like me and you,
Yeah,
and him,
yeah.
Willie. We all went to the same classes from actually kindergarten all the way to junior high. And junior high,
Wow.
in the Wilson, we changed it because they started messing us around, moving us around. Then when we went to Roosevelt, they moved us again. And then they finally put us all at the Cold Junior High.
Well, getting back to the Boy Scouts, Ernie,
Yes.
I remember that when we went to Boy Scout, the senior Boy Scout member was Ernie Colunga.
Kabul.
And well, the one that we have here
Yeah.
was Ernie Colunga. And Ernie, how did you get involved with Boy Scouts?
Well, I was in the sixth grade. I was 11 years old, and my compadre Charlie Sierra was joining, and so was his older brother Chapo. And so they asked me to go with them. There was a great. We went hiking and showed us different things, survival tactics, and how to eat off the land, and so on and so forth. So it sounded interesting to me. So I joined at 11. I was in Miss Castorena's sixth grade class, I remember. It was the first year we went to junior high, because junior high was 6th, 7th, and 8th. And so we started attending the meetings. Very interesting. You had to become a tenderfoot meet those requirements, which was learning the Boy Scout oath, the Boy Scout laws primarily. And then it expanded to, from tenderfoot to second class, first class, Star Scout, Life Scout, and then Eagle.
Were you an Eagle?
I never made it. I only needed about 4 more merit badges. But I started going to San Bernardino Valley College, and my workload there was too heavy, man, for me to keep up with it, with the Scouts. I should have finished. I should have got my Eagle rank. I would have been the first one in Troop 45. But my workload at Valley College was just too heavy.
Well, Ernie was quite a role model in the Boy Scout, wasn't he? You know, we saw him as one of the leaders of the Boy Scout, and we all wanted to be like Ernie and be leaders, Boy Scout leaders like Ernie. But I don't think I ever passed tenderfoot Ernie.
When I joined, he was already above Clavul.
Yeah, senior patrol.
Yeah, when I joined, he was already Clavul. It was Ray Clavul and then Ernie. Because
Rudy,
he was the one that used to tell us to get up and all that.
Rudy, how old were you when you joined Boy Scout?
Yeah, I really don't remember, tell you the
Fifth
truth,
grader?
Tom. Probably.
He had to be 11 years
Yeah,
old.
yeah,
Yeah,
around
11
there.
or
I'm not
12,
kidding you.
yeah.
But like I said, because Hosea was right there and we were in the same boat. And like I said, we were all almost about the same age, and that was the in thing for us, because like Ernie just said, used to go out to do things. Ray I've always admired the man. I think he was one of the most creative persons I've ever met in my
Rudy,
life.
you mentioned Saul.
Yeah.
Who was Saul?
Sabud,
So
go ahead. Yeah, correct.
he was a leader. He was a senior patrol leader when I joined.
Yeah, patrol
Yeah.
leader.
Senior patrol leader.
Senior.
He was above all 4 patrols. We had 4
Yeah.
patrols in the troop,
Yeah.
and he was the head of all the patrols.
Did he become assistant scoutmaster?
No, he got out. He didn't want to take it. It was too much for him to say.
So that was Saul and Rudy.
Yeah.
Saul was one of the leaders that
He
was
was-
there when we joined Boy Scouts.
He was the one that, when Ray used to take us out to, right there in South Colton, to what do you call it? The river.
Santa Ana River.
He
yeah.
would be.
To the
like-
mighty Santa
so and so.
Ana River.
And then when we used to come up here to the mountains, Clavul was like in control. Because I remember one time we came up here and with Ray Brill, and we were all in his truck, and all of a sudden Ray stopped, and Clavul and the senior guys got off, and they all ran. And we didn't know, los tapados, nosotros, we didn't know what was happening now. So they ran, and we found out why they ran. Because over here in the San Bernardino Mountains, they had cabins. And they went and got the cabins. And they got the cabins, they were overnight, and we did a cabin. We're the ones that had to sleep outside. And Clavul was he knew how to do it. I mean, he knew la movida.
He wasn't no dummy. No.
No.
Now getting back to, how did the troop start? How did Troop 45 start?
I really don't know about that.
How did it start? Ernie?
Ernie-
Okay, I got a history here someplace, and it was run by a Mr. Ross. In 1942, he was drafted to go into World War II to serve, and Ray took over the troop then, 1942. I don't know how old, you have to do the math, because he died when he was 93. So if you do the math, evidently he was, I think he was married by that time. Maybe had 1 or 2 kids.
Never mind.
1942, you figure that's a long time.
Well, he would, because Ray Mills Jr. was born in 1932, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he must have been.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So at any rate, Ray took it over and started recruiting the boys from South Colton. And back then, we had a sponsor. We were sponsored by the Rotaries. Because I remember I did a drawing of a pup tent with a troop flag over it. And it had a ribbon on there saying Rotary Club. In other words, they were our sponsor, you know. But like we said earlier, we used to meet in the music group in Bungalow at Garfield, and we'd meet once a week, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was on a
in the
Thursday.
evening.
Yeah, on a Thursday, I believe it was.
What time was it, Lou? Do you
Oh,
remember?
man, like
Six?
about 5 or 6 o'clock. I think it was around 6 o'clock.
And how
yeah.
long were the meetings, Lou?
About an hour and a half, maybe a couple of hours, depended. Sometimes we had the, those raids out there in the Santa Ana River, we formed two teams.
Winnie Bakes.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
or
Winnie
Winnie Bakes out there in the Santa Ana River at
Instead of a
night.
regular meeting,
You know,
we
that
went into
was-
the river.
It was pretty neat. But when we had the contest, stealing the flag, we'd form two battalions, two opposing battalions at night on the Santa Ana River.
A lot of sand.
And the object was to steal the flag. Whoever got the flag were the winners.
What did we call that game?
Pig come over the hill.
Pigs come over the hill. Pigs come
Oh,
over
boy,
the hill.
Pig come over the hill. I remember that one, man.
Getting back to the meetings, Lou, what did we do at the meetings?
Oh man!
There at the bungalow.
Well, at first to me they seemed it was kind of formal because it's kind of like the military in a sense. Of course, I never had any experience there in the military, prior to that time. But they would bring the meeting to order and discuss the badges, especially the beginners like myself, how to become a tenderfoot. What are the regulations, what are the qualifications and so on, and the things you have to study and all that. And we would sing songs, kind of patriotic songs, Viva la Company and Alouette.
Alouette, yeah.
And learn stuff like that. And at the same time, we would also learn not tying, and we had contests. Remember
Yeah.
the contests we used to have, and
Drop it.
yeah, and if you were the first one, you won that particular round. And then Shipshank or Bolin.
The one that
whatever.
had two loops.
Two loops,
Both
yeah.
of the two.
Yeah, that was a
That was
boat.
Shipshank.
That was a Shipshank.
Shipshank.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, those kinds of things, but at the same
Still
time.
there, how about that?
Yeah. I never thought I still had that. Yeah. But, stuff like that. And we talk about the different regulations and what we had to do and do some assessments, as I recall. You still have to do this, okay.
And then we discussed upcoming activities, camporees and
También.
hikes that we were gonna, that
Exactly.
we were planning.
Exactly.
Courts
And
of
so
honor.
forth. Courts of-
And Ernie, we had a song. We had a Boy Scout song.
Yeah,
And who wrote that song?
this was written by Manuel Padilla. He's an old pioneer of South Colton. And he wrote this for the troop. A lot of people,
He did?
even you
Manuel?
guys didn't know we had a song.
We did
He
not.
wrote it? Manuel Padilla, you
Can I
said?
read, can I read it?
Well, I would prefer that you sing it, but if you
No,
can't sing it.
I can't carry a tune in a bucket, man. Okay, the lyrics
Bring a
are,
bucket.
we're the Boy Scouts of America, with pride we salute our flag. We are always smiling for our life is grand. We have pledged our life to a good deed every day. Our motto is, be prepared, boys, always be prepared. Our scout laws lead the way. We're the Boy Scouts of America, loyal and true to our country, to our God, our country, and you. And this was written by a local pioneer. He was affiliated with the Boy Scouts in the beginning. And he wrote that for us. And we'd sing it every once in a while, but it finally died out. Some of you guys really remember it, do you?
What was his name?
Manuel Padilla. He was a councilman
Mm-hmm.
in Colton.
Magnino.
Yeah.
It's Magnino.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how to baptize
And
him.
he was very active in the community.
He was.
He was very active. I think he was president of the Progresistas, and he was very involved with Congress of Community Clubs, and he was also very involved in social issues that we had in South Colton.
Hot carriers of the unions here in San
Yeah.
Bernardino.
right, wasn't it?
He was a union secretary
Yeah.
for many years.
Yeah.
Union
That's what it was.
secretary for many years. Now, we've talked about Ray Abril. We've mentioned Ray Abril several times. Who was Ray Abril? He was our scoutmaster for many years, and
A surrogate father for a lot of us guys because our dads were
That's true.
they're off working or drinking or whatever, and did take care of day-to-day things like Ray did for us. And by following the scout laws, it was a very, very good guide to live by. And Ray made sure that we lived up to those scout laws.
By example, you know.
By example.
Great.
Yeah. I have to agree 100% with you on that.
And he always had time. He always had time for us to the point that his wife would get angry at him. You know? No, really.
Yeah, it did.
And
Nelly.
Nelly, I remember once Saúl Duran, a senior patrol leader, went over there looking for Ray. She started throwing rocks at him. Of course, Sal laughed and left. You know, he just laughed at that. But
Did Ray have a family, Ernie?
oh yes, he had 3 boys: Rivera Jr., Don, and Dickie, and then a daughter by the name of Linda. She's the only one that survives to this day now.
Yeah.
They're all passed away.
And where did he live, Ernie?
They lived on N Street
That's it, there in South Colton.
in South Colton.
His house is still there?
330, I'll never forget that address, 330 East N Street in South Colton. I
That's-
think Sonny Abril, Rivera Jr.'s son, still lives there. Because after Ray passed away senior, Rivera Jr. moved into the house and brought up his family there. And I think he's, now that Rivera Jr. is gone, Sonny, we used to call him,
Yeah.
passed away, the son still lived there with his family.
So
One of his sons.
who got the house, the other house? The one over
The one
by
on
the
F
high
Street?
school? By the high
His
school?
wife,
His wife got that one?
his second wife.
Yeah. 'Cause we used to go over there and talk to him once in a while. And there was always this guy with him. He was
Yeah.
an Italiano. And he always had a jug. And yoga, actually.
Yeah,
And we used to go once in a while just to help him make his life miserable, right?
yeah.
Because, you know, we were younger. And he would always, his camarada would always offer us wine. And we would always look at him and we looked at Ray and said, no, thank you. Like you just said, it was a father image thing to
Oh,
us.
yeah,
You
definitely.
know, you had to respect him. I mean,
Yeah.
anybody, I don't think there was a guy in the troops that didn't respect him. I never heard anybody talk about him,
No.
even afterwards. I mean,
You know that house there on F Street? That's the one
Yeah.
you're talking about,
Yeah.
right? Well, that was an empty lot, and I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
And I drew up the blueprints for his house.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was
didn't
14
know
years
that.
old. Got a married badge out of it, and that was it. Yeah, but at 14, I drew the floor plans for it.
Oh, I didn't
And they
know
took
that.
it downtown, took it unpassed, and they passed, no
I
problem.
did not know that.
The only thing they needed was a exact location, you know, by degrees and so on and so forth, where the lot was. So I had to print that in later on, but I took 3 years of architectural drawing.
Now, was Ray's position as scoutmaster, was it a completely volunteer? Or was it something that he was paid for by the city
Oh,
or the school
no.
district?
I think it was all volunteer.
Strictly volunteer.
He worked for the school district, as I recall. He
Yeah.
was the lead.
Painter.
The leader.
He's a painter.
Painter, yeah, that's right, that's right.
And a
I remember-
carpenter.
And man, he was
Painter.
always on the go, always on the go.
All the time, all the
And
time.
then, yeah, and then, you know, when I joined, you know, wow, I know this person, you know. Anyway, in later